Alright guys, this quick video is just going to walk you through our upcoming dystopian unit that we have. I mentioned it last week in a couple of my different videos and during our book club as far as where we were going after our Lisa Graff book clubs. And we will be moving on to the dystopian unit. And you have to make a selection before we get started with this unit, guys. It says throughout our dystopian unit, students will be required to respond to questions and prompts regarding our study of the dystopian genre. Students will need to decide on which book they will base their responses by this coming Sunday, May 3rd. Okay, so you've got to make a decision before then. Some of these books that you're going to see to decide upon might be books that you've read in the past. And honestly, guys, like I would challenge you to read a book that you haven't read before. But if you end up deciding that you'd like to, reread The Hunger Games or something like that, just make sure that you're not doing it as an attempt to try to get out of the work, because I'm going to tell you that it will be, you're still going to be required to be giving specific examples from your text and page numbers and things like that. So you wouldn't be able to just go like, oh, I've seen the movie, or oh, I read it 3 years ago, or whatever like that. Okay. So that's just my little caution there on making your selection. Okay. You basically have two directions you could go. You could either do the class read aloud book or a self-selected, self-obtained dystopian novel from this list. Okay, so you can either just stick with me and go and listen to the compound and answer all of the questions based on that book. Okay, based on the compound by S.A. Boudin. If you do it that way, I'm going to be video recording myself with the digital text of that book so that you can follow along with the text on the page at the same time that I'm reading it. But then it's going to go through Edpuzzle. I'm going to try Edpuzzle out because I've just learned a little bit more about it. And we're going to add some of the questions there embedded into the reading. But then also there will be additional written responses that you might have to type up or write out. By taking the document from Schoology into Notability. Your other option, though, is this idea of this self-obtained, self-selected dystopian novel. And there's a whole list down here. You'll notice down here of all different books that they recommend in our unit as really good dystopian novels that would work for our study of the genre. So this way, now obviously if you're doing that, you won't end up doing the Edpuzzle video questions. And when I do those, it'll be very obvious if you select to go with a different novel. It'll be very obvious to you when you're still following along with the read aloud of the compound. It'll be obvious how you can not answer those questions so that you can answer them separately for your own novel outside of that read aloud. But that will come once we actually get into this project. Right now, I'm just worried about what book do you want to base your answers to the questions and prompts on. Are you going to stick with the compound with me or pick one of these other books? The other thing I wanted to highlight, guys, I want you to recognize right here, all assigned questions and prompts are the same for any, that's a typo there, my bad, any book listed below. So whether you do the compound or you do something from this list over here, it's always going to be the same questions. The formatting might be a little different because of the Edpuzzle thing, but it's definitely going to be the same questions. And the other thing is I'm totally cool if you really would like to do this as a small group book club, like with some friends, and do that virtually and do it like on FaceTime or whatever. I'm totally cool with that, guys. Like you guys can work on answering the questions together, read the books together, like whatever you would like to do, or this can be completely independent. The only thing, though, that I need you guys to let me know about is whether you're going to do option 1 over here or option 2 over here. And if you're doing number 2, I want to know which one of these books you're going to end up reading, okay? So if I go to the survey, I'm going to open that up so you can see what that looks like. This is just going to be first name, last name block, and then you're going to tell me which one of those books you plan on reading. And I want to make sure that you notice the compound says based off of Mrs. Walsh's read aloud videos. Every other one says independent or self-run small group read. So that's all going to be on you guys to get the book, read the book, talk about the book, whatever. I'm just going to be rolling out those questions as we go through and rolling out lessons that have to do with the dystopian genre. Okay, so with all that there, this page is also going to be part of my weekly walkthrough so that you could see that, but I really wanted to get a video on here explaining it specifically so that you knew exactly what was going on with this. This isn't until next week, guys, okay? I'm just prepping us for that and making sure that I know what book you're going to use prior to starting the work next week. But if you decide to go off of this second list over here, you've got to make sure you have access to that book by next week, because that's when I'm going to start the read aloud while you're working on those author letters that I talked about in my update last week. Okay, guys, if you got any questions, please just let me know. I will put a plug out there for the compound. Please don't feel like you're doing something wrong if you decide to go with the compound with me. The compound is one of my most favorite read alouds. I've told you guys that a million times. Kids are always asking me when I'm going to end up reading the compound. So I highly encourage you, whether you choose to go from the self-selected list or not, I would still encourage you to listen to the compound because it is an amazing book. But if you choose to go with the compound, you are going to have to make sure you stay up to date with me and listen to all of that so that you can accurately answer your questions. Okay, guys, that's my run through for this upcoming unit. Again, if you got any questions, let me know, and make sure you get that survey answered before this coming Sunday. Okay? Thanks, guys.